Okay, we have a super cool opportunity today to review the 1974 original resume of Bill Gates. He just posted this, shared it with the world, and we get to review it. So let's take a look. So it probably looks just a bit different than the resumes that you'll typically see, maybe devoid of a little bit of color, but considering that it was probably written on a typewriter, I think we'll give that one a pass. Let's take a look at what content he threw in this resume. Again, remember, this is back in 1974. One of the things that first jumps out to me, he's got a salary of $12,000 and his desired salary is open. I think that's so interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a desired salary and current salary on a resume in a very long time, so I think this is pretty unique. $12,000 specifically. If we take into account 1974 dollars being a little bit different than 2022 dollars, I think we're looking at something like a 600% increase, which means $12,000 today would be about $72,000, which for a current salary or an open salary is not actually unreasonable. I think that's pretty interesting that things have kind of stayed aligned with inflation to this point. He also has his demographic information on here, which is something that I know they like to put into a bunch of application questionnaires these days, but it's not something I've seen. But 5'10", 130 pounds, no dependents. I think that's super interesting. I guess it really helps with the location here being open, no restrictions. He'll go anywhere, he'll figure it out. I think one of the things that I see in this resume as I read through his expertise and the things that he's done really is he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna get out there and get it done, and I think that's obviously what made him the Bill Gates that we know today. But let's jump down to the bottom. He started with his first experience, Information Sciences Incorporated in Portland, Oregon, for about a year in 1971. He was part of a team designing and implementing payroll packages in COBOL, which is, again, an incredibly old language, but irrespective of language, it sounds like he's really getting in and getting stuff done, which is not something that we see these days with entry-level computer science positions. A lot of it is, oh, spend a few years learning the ropes, figuring things out, but he was all over it. He was in charge of overall design for the last 6 months, so he jumped in 6 months into this project, he made it happen, and he brought himself to be the overall designer, so I think that's fantastic. One of the things, again, in the next side, he works for this school, co-leader to setting up a general purpose program to do scheduling for private high schools. Super cool, and he used a completely different programming language to write this second project. So he was like, you know what? I can figure out this other language, I can do this new one, and I'll go and figure it out along the way. So again, taking that initiative, that's a good lesson to learn. If you want to be like Bill Gates, take initiative and figure it out along the way. You can learn different computer programming languages as you go in your career, and that's not unreasonable. It looks like he did some sort of partnership with some guy named Paul G. Allen, but I doubt that's super important, so we'll just skip right past it. Just kidding. Obviously, this is super cool, super exciting to see that he really just started this off in June of 1972, which is exactly 50 years ago. 50 years ago. That's absolutely insane. I mean, I wasn't there 50 years ago, but it's just so cool to see how things have come along throughout. And now Microsoft is a global company with so many employees, and they really are still a gold standard of computer programming, and they're a great company that people want to work for. So his first partnership with Paul Allen, obviously this is designing and putting together a system for traffic engineers to study traffic flow. I don't even know what they did, but it sounds like a cool project, and again, diving in, getting things done, figuring things out, that is the pattern of this resume. Moving forward, again, we're probably doing more of a review than any hiring manager would have done, unless things were way different back in 1974. But TRW Systems Group, he's building something with them in 1973. And all of this experience leads up to the education where he says he's currently enrolled for his first year at Harvard College. His first year in school, and he's already been working for, what, 3 years in tons of different programming languages, figuring things out, learning along the way. He didn't have to wait for his degree. He didn't have to wait for his boot camp of figuring out programming. He went in and he got it done, which is super admirable, and obviously one of the reasons he's so successful today. Super interesting in his experience section, he kind of has like a TLDR right at the top. He talks about the languages he used in all of his different programming positions. He talks about the types of industries he was in, power control, traffic flow, scheduling. And it's like you can read that section and not have to read the rest of it. You can understand the programming languages and the projects he worked on. So I don't know that I've ever seen this, like kind of like a resume experience TLDR, but might be a cool idea to have on a resume. I think that's a note that I'm gonna take from this for future. But super cool, we got to see a ton of information. Thank you, Bill, for sharing this with the world. Really cool to walk through a piece of history, I think, and it was fun to review it on this channel. So if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like this video, comment below if you see something that I didn't, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.